Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Aron Sokol and you're watching Parsha Inspired. One of the most mysterious topics in the Torah is the story of the spies, because it really seems anticlimactic. The Jewish people leave Egypt and are supposed to go receive the Torah and then go into the land, but yet they fail to do this. And this leads to a really big question. How is it possible that the leaders of the Jewish people, of every single tribe, the number one rabbi, all made a mistake? Ask any 4-year-old today if God is all-powerful. How is this even possible that they could have sinned in such a way? And furthermore, why did all the Jews believe them? Before I play this recording, I want you to understand something, that this message is from an era before podcasts. This is not a polished studio recording. This is before social media, before algorithms, before the world became so loud. And yet, honestly, listening to these words today, this ancient wisdom, is honestly unsettling, because some messages do not age at all. If anything, they become more true. The voice you're about to hear is of my Rebbe of blessed memory, and what he says is more relevant now than ever. Just listen. Let's go.
That a father, a multi-billionaire, and the son is coming of age, and he wants to give his son, but he wants his son to have a epis shaychus with earning it, not mamish earning it, but epis shaychus, and he wants to give it to him. He tells his son he has a fortune. He has a fortune of $10 billion, and he wants his son to get all of it. Getting old, he wants his son to get it. So he spreads the $10 billion around in his estate. He has a vacation resort, and the $10 billion cash he puts around different places. And he leaves his son. He says, "Son, you want to come spend a few days, spend a week or so in my vacation resort? And there's swimming pools and there's everything, and all golf courts, fishing, all the thing." "Yeah, sure. I would like very much if you would do certain chores while you were there. If you would do this chore and that chore." And every one of the chores, he put $15 million, $20 million, $5 million. If he does all the chores that it's on the list over there, he gets $10 billion. So if the father wants him to get $10 billion. Son doesn't know that, of course. Son just knows it's chores. Son comes, the vacation resort, it's very nice, and there's plenty of things to do there. And plus, there's the hammock with music. He can just sit there in the hammock in the sun or in the shade, or whatever. He can just enjoy himself, and he sees the list of chores. What am I with? My father wants me to. He has workers here. He has workers, so I have to go and do this. Right? But Cholzai, he does a little bit. He does a little bit of chores, epis mashal. And during the week or 10 days that he's there, he does a little bit of chores, and he finds $35 million. Wow. Isn't that nice? Our father's so nice. Then the 10 days are up. Father calls up, "How did you enjoy after he goes back home, leaves it already. How did you enjoy your vacation?" "Very nice. Dad, thanks you so much. It's very nice. You're very generous. I have $35 million. Real nice." $35 million, you lazy, good-for-nothing, rotten son that I have. There was $20 billion waiting for you. $20 billion? Yeah, you blew it big, man. You're $20 billion. $20 billion? $20 billion. $35 million. So if I had $35 million, you got $20 billion. Can I go back? No, time's up. So 2 people are eating their hearts out. The son is eating his heart out, and the father is eating his heart out. They wanted to give the son now. Now going to have to give it to charity now. They're going to get stuck out of it. Kushabrichu, and every one of us has he made every one of us, the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And every one of us, he has the Kadosh Baruch Hu's picture of Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. Now, the Ashrecha, we never talk about Torah B'Olam Hazeh. That's not our discussion. We don't talk about that. We're Olam Hazeh people, whoever whoever is offended by that to leave. For Olam Hazeh people. We're going to talk about every night, only Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. That's what we're talking. We'll focus on that. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu's Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh is gewaldig. He has a musag. Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. And if we reach it, he's happy. And if we don't reach our Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh, the Kadosh Baruch Hu has tzar. He prepared so much Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. The best case scenario. You know what the best? You know what he prepared for us. Listen to this. If they wouldn't have sent Meraglim, okay, they would have believed Kosh Baruch Hu says they've gone straight to wouldn't send Meraglim. They would have gone to Eretz Yisrael in a few days. In a few days, they would have been not 40 years in the Midbar. They would have been a few days in Eretz Yisrael. And Chazal say Lo Yitzchichim L'Kli Zayin. And Moshe Rabbeinu would have been with them. And they walk into Eretz Canaan. Okay, let's try to picture this scenario. Klal Yisrael, the Yotzei Mitzrayim, the same Yotzei Mitzrayim, not so long after Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Yotzei Mitzrayim with Moshe Rabbeinu walking into Eretz Canaan, and they're coming and they're saying, "We're taking over," and the United Nations are screaming and yelling, and all the Canaanites are armed to the teeth with all kinds of things, and Klal Yisrael walk in. I don't know if they have to go foo or not. I don't know if it's enough just to look at them and they all died. Every one of them, they're all dead. Pagori Mason, millions of them. All the Hamas and the Fatah and the Hezbollah, Yamach, they're all dead. We don't raise a finger. Maybe finger, you died. I don't know. I don't know exactly. It says you walk in there. You walk in there with Moshe Rabbeinu. Maybe Moshe Rabbeinu would have done it. And they would have gotten not Eretz Shiva Samamim, they would have gotten Eretz Asor Amamim. Keni Kenidik Kedmoni they would have gotten. And Moshe Rabbeinu would have built the Beis HaMikdash. And the Tikkun HaSholim would have happened. And they'd never been destroyed, no Golus, no Churban, no Holocaust, not a Yid would have been killed. That's something. Not nice. Nice. That's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu prepared for Klal Yisrael. And we lost it all. It says in the Medrash. And this is the Yeshayla Davar Rabbi sign. V'yirma Hashem Adonai Yinatzuni, it's the Medrash Rabbah, Perek Tez Zayin, Oitz Chav Daled. Adonai lo yaminu li. How long are you not going to be miming in me? Hado dechsiv v'posuk mishlei v'atifru kol atzosi. Ma'u v'atifru kol toiva sheyoatzti alechem kilkaltem oisha. I had so many toivas that I prepared for you. I had so many toivas. I had the best case scenario. It was gewaldig. It was niflam line. And you went and you threw it all away. Difficult. And Atsuni says Rashi Tigazuni, because if the Kadosh Baruch Hu can't give us all of the taiva that he wants, Kaviyachal es tsar. Like the father that wanted to give 20 billion and all the son got was 35 million. We have to be aware of this, Chabrisa. We have to know. Adonai lo yaminu bi. Our picture of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, our picture of the Rebbeinu Shalom has to be that the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Goimel Chasodim Toivim. What does the word Goimel mean? Goimel, in my mind, in English, generates and radiates. He's generating and radiating Chasodim Toivim. And all the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to do is to give me Chasodim Toivim, and he wants to give me Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. The Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh that the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to give me. He wants to give me more than I want to get it. And when I say those words, he wants to give me more than I want to get. I mean it both qualitatively and quantitatively. Meaning, his Rotzain Yisborach Shemoy Kaviyocho to give is greater than my Rotzain to receive. And my Rotzain to receive is very great. And for most people's also Rotzain to receive is very great. Alpha Peking Rotzain Yisborach to give is stronger. Plus, quantitatively, he wants to give me more than I want to receive. As much as I can be masig that I would like to receive, he would like to give me more. Please, Sophie Cloud. We can't even imagine that high. And it's now if a person has this in mind, that the Beirei Kolei Lami is Kulei Toiv, Kulei Chesed, and Kulei Racham. Then his whole attitude towards the Kodesh Baruch Hu, his Baruch Hu gives. He gives and he gives and he gives and he gives. Many times we spoke about the first bracha in Birchas Hamazon, and tonight we're going to talk about the bracha of Toiv Meitis. Bekitzer, the main words we're going to talk about Hamelech HaToiv V'Meitiv Lakar. And every Yid has to walk around, that every fiber in his body, His Baruch Hu is Hamelech HaToiv V'Meitiv Lakar. He's meitiv to everybody. He's a meitiv. Shebechol Yom V'Yom Hu Heitiv. He was meitiv. He was always hated to me. Who meitiv? He's meitiv today. Hu Yeitiv Lanu. Ugam Lanu. Hu Yijmu Aleinu Lad L'chein L'chesed L'Rach V'Elach Hatzon L'Atzlach L'Bracha V'Yeshua L'Echol L'Palat L'Rach L'Chaim V'Shalom L'Chol Tov. He just gives and gives and gives. He's Kulei Tov. He's Kulei Tov. Last week we spoke about the negativity in two parts. Negativity of Yom Kippur, the matzav, V'ani eskavanti l'tova. Person was negative and talks about his matzav. Talk about the negativity of criticism of Rabbi Aron and Miriam. And now we're going to talk about tonight the negativity of a person feeling certain negative feelings towards the Kushabrichu and the Torah of the Eibishter. And when I was a child, I mentioned many times over here, when we were growing up in a modern Orthodox world, and the teachers in day school tried to, I don't know, whatever they tried, they didn't succeed. They didn't talk the right language. And they just criticized us, and they, boys, you're not allowed to do this, and boys, you're not allowed to do that, and boys, you're not allowed to do this, and boys, you're not allowed to do that. And we had a phobia of going to yeshiva. What's the Rebbe going to ask for today? And we called the Rebbe's killjoy. Because we wanted to have a good time, and anything we wanted to do, but tifku kol atzasi, anything we wanted to do, they wouldn't let it. Not that they succeeded in stopping us, but they said you're not allowed to do it. So we had a very negative attitude against the Rebbe's. The negative attitude was really directed and higher than the Rebbe's. We didn't really accuse the Rebbe's of making up the Torah that they were quoting. The negative attitude was connected pashtus, the Torah and the Kodesh Baruch Hu. The Torah is demanding us to do things we don't want to do, like getting up early in the morning. The Torah was restricting us from doing things we do want to do and trying to hold us back. And therefore, there were negative feelings towards the Torah, even negative the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And therefore, and that's why the whole class went off the derech from my grade school days. And if a person is masig and is clear by him that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is only Toiv, Hamelech HaToiv V'Meitiv Lakar. And that's why he gave us a Torah. Why did HaKodesh Baruch Hu l'zakos Eretz Yisrael? Lefichach Yirbeim Torah B'tzvos. Why did he give us a Torah? Because the Torah is Rachel Da'achinam Chon Yisrael Shalom. The tachlis of the Torah is to bring you to Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh v'Tov Loch L'Olam Haba. Everything is positive. Everything is good. Everything is toiv. The Meraglim, the whole yesod of the Meraglim was negativity. And because of that, Klal Yisrael accepted it, and they lost. They lost all of Kol HaTova sheyoatzti alechem kilkaltem oisa. Now, Achar Mea V'Esrim Shana, we're all going to see the Tova that we're supposed to get. First, we'll talk about the famous Medrash I brought it down many years, year after year, but so could die to read it again. Shua Eimer, L'mo Yudaimim, L'melech Shazimin D'vnoi Isha Noya Bas Tovim V'Ashira. A melech that could have chose for his son any girl he wants, and he went and he chose the best girl there is, Isha Noya, and she's from a wonderful family, and she's very wealthy. Amalai Melech, he calls over his son, I got good news for you, my dear son. Yes, Daddy, what's the good news? Simanti lecha Isha Noya Bas Tovim V'Ashira. Amalai, then, Daddy, I don't trust you really. I'm not ready to become engaged. I want to go and see if Shloyo Maimin La'aviv didn't believe his father's giving him such a good wife. Aviv got very upset. Amar Aviv to himself, if I'll tell my son, no, you can't see her. Must be an ugly witch. That's why he doesn't want me to show it. My father hates me. Wants me to live with some ugly, deformed, who knows what. And my father wants to give me some ugly witch. That's what the son thinks of the mother. So what's the father going to do? That's what the son's going to say. Oh, my son, you want to see her? You can see her. And go and see that she is everything I said. She's Yafa, Bas Tovim, Ashira, but you're not going to marry her. After you see that it was true, and you lost her, then you go eat your heart out. Kach, HaKadosh Baruch Amar Yisrael, Toiva ha'aretz, lo yaminu, ela amru nishlach anashim lefanenu, v'yachberu lanu. They didn't believe. They didn't believe on their madrega. They didn't believe that's Toiva ha'aretz. They didn't believe Toiva ha'aretz. Amar HaKadosh Baruch imaki v'li aleim ha'imrim al she'ena Toiva, lo hero yisrael lanu. It must be that it's some kind of a terrible place. Yeru Isa, says the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Ubishvua she'ein echem mem nifnas l'teicha she'nemar kim yiru es ha'oretz ha'shem izbadi la'avoisa v'chomonatzai lo yirua. So because of the chisorin emuna that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is giving us toiv, and here the Kadosh Baruch Hu even told that the emission is, if a person has the right hakara of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hamelech hatoiv hameitiv la'koil, then it's not even necessary for the Melech to say, Isha Yafa v'Bas Tovim, I'm giving you a good wife. It's not even necessary. A person that trusts his father, he knows that his father's a meitiv, he has no havim here. His father doesn't have to go and sell her to him. His father says, my dear son, I picked out a shidduch for you. That's it. But here the Kadosh Baruch Hu even said Toiva. Rabbi Sai, for our own Ashrecha Ba'olam Hazeh, start being maimin that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is HaMelech HaToiv V'Hameitiv La'Koil, and He prepared for you a wonderful Ashrecha Ba'olam Hazeh. But if you don't believe it, you're not going to get it. Not something. You're not going to get it. I repeated it so many times, and I can't repeat it enough. If we think about the Kodesh Baruch Hu, is Geulah chasadim to me. What chasadim? And what did the Kodesh Baruch Hu have for me? What does he have for me? Let's start with Chaim. He has Chaim. He has life. There's no other address. He has health only. He can give health. He gives a wife. He gives children. He gives healthy children. He gives gesund. He gives parnasa. He gives stellars. He gives everything there is in the world. So he has by him everything. And that's what the word Baruch means. Mekor kol habrachos kulam. Baruch atah Hashem. You, Ribono Shel Olam, are the source of everything good in the world that I want and you want to give me. And 100 times a day, we say Baruch atah Hashem. As Kedai Shabbos, you have to add a few things. If you get your 100 times a day with Baruch atah Hashem. Now, isn't it Kedai when you say Baruch atah Hashem to be mechazik that in your mind? Baruch atah Hashem. He's the source of all good tzachen. For Kitzur, he's the source of Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. All the goodies of Olam Hazeh that you want, he's the source of. And like the expression says, you better believe it, or lo tire beinecha. Because of lack in emunah in Toivas HaKadosh Baruch Hu, people don't see it. But just like the Melech eventually showed it to his son, everybody eventually sees. And many times I repeated hundreds of times in 2 videos that we're going to see. The first video of This Was Your Life. That could be embarrassing, some embarrassing moments in the first video of This Is Your Life. But there's something called tshuva, and the tshuva is a censor, scissors that can censor out certain uncomplimentary scenes from the video of This Was Your Life. And then comes second video. Second video, you're going to see the best case scenario, what the Kodesh Baruch Hu had in mind for you that you could have got. Wow, I could have gotten that. I could have had that. Oh my goodness gracious. I could have had all of that. Yeah, that's what I wanted to give it to you. So I wanted to get it, so why didn't you give me? Because you weren't minding in my teva. You weren't minding that I'm a melech ha-teva, meitiv l'koil. And you sought other drachim. Like in the Parsha, there are the ma'apilim. Vayapilu la'alois, ein Hashem bekir bechem. You can't do it on your own. Im ein Hashem bekir bechem, you can't get anything on this earth. There's no ashrecha b'olam hazeh if ein Hashem bekir bechem. You can't go get yourself your own ashrecha b'olam hazeh. Can't do anything. Not just Eretz Yisrael. You can't get parnasa. Can't get anything. Anything good and worthwhile in this world you can't get. Mein Hashem bekir bechem. But if it's Hashem, if you're Maimin in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And that's what Tanach and the Mefarshim say for the Yamsuf, the Hakdama to all of the Nisik Yamsuf was Hisyatzvu Uhu Es Yeshua Hashem. And they weren't sitting down. The Moshe had to say, they weren't sitting down taking it easy, but should stand up. Hisyatzvu means prepare yourself to see Yeshua Hashem. Prepare, focus in, Syatzvu, and then you'll see Yeshua Hashem. So we have to misake in the tikkun. Arono yinatsuni amazev arono lo yaminu li b'chol ha'osos. Now, we saw more oisos than they did because we believe everything that they saw. And we saw 3,300 years of oisos and moisim since then. And we're still around. We're still around. The whole world hates us with a passion. Everybody hates us. And the truth is, they're mechuyev to hate us. They're mechuyev because halacha Esav soinei liyankiv. What do you want? Esav shouldn't be mekayim the halacha. There should be avayanim Esav. Esav the mekayim, the finer people mekayim halacha. The shomrei halacha the Esavs and the Yishmaels, the Machshemom, all of them. The mekayim halacha Esav soinei liyankiv. I heard from the Heilige Klosenberger Rebbe. Kiloi nachas beYaakov v'lo kesem b'Yisrael. The Tag of Edison in Uzil says, Kiloi tzovu nachashaya la'azor liYisrael. Nobody wants to help the Yidden. They all hate us with a passion. It's only the Billionaire, though. The only thing is that sometimes they curse the Jews and sometimes they don't. It depends if the Jews curse the Haredim. Whenever the Jews curse the Haredim, then they get cursed. Al da'atek datfuch. And since in the last few weeks they were cursing the Haredim terrible, also everything where everybody's cursing the Tzionim, they deserve more than that. They didn't even get it yet. So not just the beginning of all the curses. Let's see what they cursed the Haredim in the last few weeks. They're gonna get kitoni shel buz that they justifiably deserve. Not that they deserve because they did anything wrong, but what they did wrong was to curse the Haredim. Therefore, they're going to get it. I said it myself, and the statement Shlita said it. It's an olive base, mida keneged mida. Try to curse the Haredim, you're going to get cursed. Every single goy in every single dialect, and they're all going to. They deserve it. They deserve it. Now, that not that when the goyim are quiet and don't curse the Jews, you think that they don't hate the Jews. This is one halacha that the ganze Welt is mekayim. Halacha Esav soinei liyankiv. Esav is every country in the world. Esav is Turkey and Greece and France and America. Everybody. The Klosenberg Rebbe used to say all the time, and not the Chabad b'meint as there and yena. We have a friend here, we have a friend there. It's the only nafkamina between this guy and that guy is some guys are honest and they're saying how much they hate the Jews, and the other guy, to be politically correct and get voted in, they hide it. And the Rebbeinu Shalom wants one country, the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants, it's a Nes Golui. There's a country called the United States of America, you may have heard of it. And over there, the founding fathers in 1776 created an institution called the Electoral College, with electors and winner take all and and the Kadosh Baruch Hu took the 6 million Jews in America and put them in the big states, the heavy states with a lot of electoral votes. And for some crazy reason, they never abolished the Electoral College. And Ad Hayom Hazeh, from 1776 to the year 2010, it's still there. And every one of the states with a lot of electoral votes has a lot of Jews in it. They hate the Jews, but they want their vote. The other countries don't have anything like that. And they don't need the Jewish vote. There's more Muslims than Jews in every other country. And there's no electoral college. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu, b'chachmasa yisbarach, it's awesome how the Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the whole entire world. And therefore, anybody in America that wants to get elected for anything has to say he's nice to the Jews. Got to do it. He hates the Jews, but he's got to say that he's nice. Right? That's the anyway. We that's the world we're living in. But the Kadosh Baruch Hu loves us. The Goyim hate us. Hashem Elokim imo Yisruas Melech bo Yisrua miloshen Reus. Yisruas Melech, my neighbors, that loves us. And as we realize more and more that the Goyim hate us and they curse us. We realize more and more the danger of the world we're in. Now, it's not just a Yesoid that when you're miming in Toivas HaBeirei, that you get Toivas HaBeirei, that you're going to get that best case scenario that Kodesh Baruch Hu wants to give you. It's also when you have that feeling and that hargosha that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is kulei toiv, he just wants to give and give and give. You're a happy person. You're a positive person. You feel very good. Kodesh Baruch Hu is smiling at you. You know that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is smiling at you. You know, the Welt tells a story. The Welt tells a story, and it happens ma'asim b'chol yom millions of times a day. A man's wife yells at him before he leaves house. His wife, it sounds, by goyim it might happen. Not a yidden. By goy, the man's wife, she says nasty things to her husband when he leaves. She's in a bad mood. He's the boss. He's in a bad mood because his wife said whatever she said. So he comes to the place where he's the boss. The boss is in a bad mood. Be careful. The boss is in a bad mood. He calls in his vice president and yells at the vice president. Vice president calls in his secretary, yells at the secretary. And kind of goes down the ladder. Everybody's yelling at everybody else. And the bottom secretary goes home and yells at her son. And his son doesn't know who to yell at. He kicks the cat. So you have to find somebody. So it all starts off because the wife yelled, and the husband, and the boss, and it went down. Everybody. It's a chain. Vida Tova Meruba. What if a wife is very nice to the husband, a wife smiles and gives him a good send off. Big smile. And he feels real good. The boss walks in. The boss is in a good mood today. Oh, we're in luck. The boss is in a good mood. Everybody and it goes filled with everybody's happy, and he gives raises, and he's nice to people, and he even talks nicely and praises people and compliments them, and because it all started off because with a smile. If you could hear and feel the Kodesh Baruch Hu smile at you, if you could feel Hamelech HaToiv HaMeitiv HaKosher HaChoyim, if you could feel that, then you'll be a happy person. And you'll smile at your wife. You'll make her feel good also. You become a positive person. And you'll generate and radiate positive, good feelings. We're lucky. Ashreinu ma'tov chelkeinu ma'noim goyraleinu ma'yofeh Yerushaseinu. We have a Father in Shemayim who loves us. We have a Father in Shemayim who's mashpia tov v'chesed v'rachmim on all of us. We have a Father in Shemayim that gave us the Torah Akdosha. That's the key to Kol Tuv. It's the key to Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. Wow, are we lucky? And people become happy people. And they spread it, and the family's happy, and the children are happy. If the husband's happy, he can make the wife happy. If the father and the mother are happy, the children will be happy people. Even in this crazy Meshuggah generation. But if the children grow up in a home where the father and the mother are happy people, how can you be happy in this crazy generation? There's so many problems and sorrows. Yeah, but the Kodesh Baruch Hu loves me. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu is a Toivu Meitiv. And we have the Torah Akdosha, we have the Emes Lamitoi, and we have the key to Kol Tuv, and we have the key to Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. We're lucky. So what? They curse us, and there's problems, and there's this, and there's that. But look what we have. If all of this negativeness destroyed everything, and it did. Shloyo maimin b'toiva Chazal say, v'tifru kol atzosi here, adonu yaminu li, and the story with the melech and b'nei shloyo maimin. How are we going to get the Geulah, and how are we going to get the Beis Hamikdash rebuilt with emunah that's going to happen, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants to give us? We have to misakin the chesaron emunah, adonu lo yaminu li. That's what we have to do. Now let's go a little further. The Machlekes, the Meraglim neged Yehoshua and Calev. The words of Yehoshua and Calev. The words of the Meraglim. Lo nuchal, lo nuchal, lo nuchal. We can't. Meraglim says we can't. That's pretty negative. Isn't that pretty negative? We can't do it. We can't do it. It's too much for us. And Calev says, these are positive versus negative. Loy nuchal versus yochol nuchal. Now this klal of the Meraglim versus the Calev and Yehoshua is not just on Eretz Yisrael. It's on Bechlal, it's on Avodas Hashem. The Meraglim are alive and they're strong and they're at work. The Harbe Shluchim the Meraglim Shel Hayoim. The Yisrael of the Meraglim is Lo Nuchal, Lo Tuchal. They talk to you. You can't. Lo Tuchal Alis. You can't do it. Now the Sultan wants very much to make you negative about yourself. Till now we spoke about positiveness towards the Kodesh Baruch Hu's attitude. Kodesh Baruch Hu is a meitiv. And now we're going to talk about feeling on your own positive about yourself. How can I be positive about myself? Positive feelings about myself? What's with anivus and what's with this and what's with that? The Yesod HaDavar is Rabbi Yisrael Yochol Nuchal. And because we are miming that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is a Toivu Meitiv, and all the Kodesh Baruch Hu has in mind for every one of us is Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh, then whatever matzav we're in has to be a matzav that can be turned into Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu wouldn't put us in such a matzav otherwise. And I cannot say it enough, I've said it so many times. The door we're living in is the strongest and the hardest door ever to live in. It's the hardest door with the most nisyonis, worse than Dor HaMabul. I quoted it many times. It's the worst generation ever was on planet Earth. And when the Kodesh Baruch Hu chose our neshamas to come down to this door, he skipped over a lot of other neshamas. And he came to our door, to our neshama, and he said, you go down to this door. Now, of course, the neshama didn't want to go, but the other neshamas might have volunteered. I'll go down. You wouldn't make it. You wouldn't make it. You would fail. You don't have the koyach. And since the Kodesh Baruch Hu, believing in our own power is a teitzah in believing that the Kodesh Baruch Hu only has our best interests in mind. And since He sent us to this world, He sent us for the tachlis of getting Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh, and sending us here was the Toivaseinu. So therefore we have to believe in our Yecholes. The Meraglim want us to think, Lo Tuchalal, you can't steig, you can't accomplish this, you can't accomplish that, you can't stay in Eretz Yisrael. And Yehoshua and Calev, the whole Yesod is Yochol Nuchal. Oloi Na'ala, we can do it. And the Lashon of Rashi is, Oloi Na'ala, afilu b'shamayim v'oimer asu sulamois v'olu sham, natzliach b'chol devarov. If he said it, then we could be natzliach. Natzliach b'chol devarov. Natzliach b'chol devarov. If it's Dvar Hashem, then we could be natzliach. Because He sent us down here to be winners, not losers. He sent us down here to Toivaseinu. He sent us down here to get Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. So believing in our koyach is not because of my own gaiva. It's because of my emunah in Toivas HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Ratzono Lehetiv. Mamela, I believe in my yecholes to be matzliach. And we have to feel flattered that we were chosen for this generation. For those of us from America who remember there's something called baseball. The Alter from Kelm said that the Yesod of Musar is Tziyurim. To make a tziyur of the Olam Hazeh, the Havayas Olam Hazeh, Dibur HaKosov B'Hoive, to give a shigul tziyur. So, let's get a picture. There's something called the World Series. It used to be in my day. I don't know if it still is. There's a World Series. You win 4 games, and 3-3, and it's the 7th game, and there's 9 innings to a game, and there's bottom of the 9th inning, and this is it. This is the 7th game, and right now the team is behind, but this bases are loaded, and if whoever wins the home run now wins the game and the World Series, and he's the biggest hero in the world. I mean, there's 100,000 people in the stadium, and 100 million people watching it on television, and this is it. And the coach needs somebody to go in there and hit a home run. And the coach is looking, who does he have? And he chooses you. You're going to go in there, and you're the one that the whole Hatzlacha and the whole World Series is hinged on you. And 100 million people on television, 100,000 are watching you walk out to the bat. Wow. You're the one. Everything is dependent on you. And you feel, first of all, it's a achrayus, big achrayus. But you're the one. Now, you can either be a hero or, lose it, You can either hit a home run or you can strike out or whatever, And you get up there. And you say, okay, I can do it. The coach chose me. There's in the dugout, there's 15 of us over there. The coach chose me. I'm the one. And you're gonna have to, and you hit the home run, and you win, and you're the biggest hero, and they carry you, and then on the front page of all the papers, and 100 million people are screaming. And by side, that tziyur is the matzav today exactly because we are in the bottom of the 9th. Because the Mashiach is coming. That's it. The game's almost over. The game is almost over. And we can all be big winners. We could be the ones that are going to win the game. And we can do it. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu chose you to finish off this game and win the World Series and bring the Geulah Shleima. Wow, that's pretty good. And he wouldn't send you the bat if he doesn't know that you could hit a home run. But you could be distracted and strike out. There's a lot of distractions. And the other team has all kind of distractions, trying to distract the batter, and they're talking, they're whatever, all kind of distractions. Hashem Yerachem, I don't want to say what distractions they're going to catch your eye and not even watch the ball and strike out. But if you focus, you can hit a home run. You can be a big winner. So knowing that the Kodesh Baruch Hu, so believing in your koyach is not gaiva. Believing in your yecholes and to paskin like Yehoshua and Calev, yochol tuchal, oloi nale, tatzliach b'chol devorov, and not the negativity of the meraglim. Everything negative is the meraglim over again. Any loy tuchal is the meraglim. And yochol tuchal is Yehoshua v'Calev. Says in the Medrash, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Moshe, Makir Toivani Lekalev, that he spread positive talk. And Moshe and Aaron didn't. For some reason, it says in Medrash. For some reason they didn't say, only Kalev was the one that had the schus to say, Yochel Nucha, we could do it. Makir Ani Toiva Lekalev, and the same Kusha Brechu. That was Makir Toiva Lekalev, for spreading the positive words. Yochel Nuchal, that same Kodesh Baruch Hu is Makir Toiva today in Tov Shinayin to anybody and everybody that inspires other people, that Yochel Tuchal, that you could do it, you could make it. And anybody that says anything negative is a meraglim. Bifrat about life in Eretz Yisrael. That's meraglim kipshutoi. Meraglim is even lavdavki. Even if you're sitting in America and the person's in a kollel in America and he has the habit of being ambitious and learning Shas or learning Basmada, and the Meraglim come, and the Meraglim, the spiritual Meraglim come and say, "Who are you? You're going to learn Shas? You're going to learn Basmada? It's America. America don't do what are you talking about?" So even if it's chutzlad, any ruchnis at all, any negative by ruchnis is Meraglim. Any negativity about Eretz Yisrael is Meraglim. Two people are talking to each other. Yeah, we better go back. Yeah, we're going back. Yeah, of course we're going back. How can you stay here? And this and that, and the prices are expensive, and the deers are this, and it's hot, and there's mosquitoes, there's this or there's that. That's Meraglim. Oh, wow. And you know that a lot of people, because they talk to each other, or the women talk, or more than the women than the men, and they're talking, meet in the supermarket, and they start talking. Are you staying another year? Nah, come on, who can stay another year in this matzah, it's fair, this and that, and in America we have this, in America we have that, we would have a car, we'd have a nice apartment. Yeah, you're right, I think I'll tell my husband we should go back also. Meraglim! Kipshutai! Pachalotzum. Any negativeness of dibur that makes a person lose his inspiration and lose his ambition, that's dibur hameragim lo tuchal. Any cooling off of a person's enthusiasm is meraglim. Any inspirational talk is Calev Yehoshua and Calev. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu looks down and the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, Makir Toiva. And sometimes it could be not Tafkid the Geulah Yador. And here it says in the Medrash, it's Neir and Neroy, it's Moshe Aaron lo sitem ezeh. Kolei lo so ezeh. Any Avrech who comes in and says nice words of encouragement, words of positiveness, words of enthusiasm, and he gives enthusiasm and positive feeling to somebody else. That's Kalev Yeshua. That's Tikkun Chet HaMeraglim. The Torah HaKdosha is Torah's Chaim. Torah HaKdosha is Torah's Netzach. Torah HaKdosha is speaking to us in this year, Tafshin Ayin. Kipshutoi. So here we are. And all we have to do is be miming the truth. Ayedei, the emunah and the hakara that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is toiv and meitiv. So I know that I could do it. Because he's a toiv and meitiv. So you do, Rabbi Chaim Shmulevitz, the Chol HaLevacha, asked the Peladik Kasha. The Gemara says, we have heroes called Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah are heroes, Klal Yisrael. One comes to Gemara and says, they're not such a, no. Ilmoli nagdur lachanani mishav azaya v'pochul l'tzalma. If the king, instead of throwing him into the Kivshan or H, would have beaten them, taken out a whip, and one whip, and one whip, and one whip, they would have bowed down to the tzela. In fact, the Chaim Shmulevitz, why do you have to downgrade the chashivas of Hananiah? It's a mitzvah. It's a better shloim. What's Ketun's on? What do we have to know? That if Hananiah mishav azaya weren't on the Madrega, they could have withstood Nagdua, the Yisurim. So the Chaim Shmulevitz, it's a Yisoid Otzum. It's a Yisoid Otzum to teach us the Yisoid we're talking about right now. Why didn't the king do it? He would have gotten what he wanted. Because Baruch Hu didn't let him. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu knew the breaking point of Hananiah Mishav Azariah, that they can't handle that. So they can't handle Yisurim. They can handle Kivshan Oesh. They couldn't handle Yisurim. So the Kodesh Baruch Hu was monea from them that Nisayin. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu does never put a person in a Nisayin he can't overcome. So Mamela, that Gemara, even though that Gemara is certainly not very complimentary to Hananiah Mishav Azariah, but to us it's a limud otzum. So limud otzum, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is a melech ha'toiv ha'meitiv la'koil. Kodesh Baruch Hu has a one-track mind, and I say to people, we can say it to Chashuv B'nai Torah as well. I certainly say when I talk to people that are not yet so committed to Yiddishkeit and they're afraid of the Torah, I say the Kodesh Baruch Hu, guys, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu has only one request. Yeah, Rabbi, keep the Torah and mitzvahs there. No, that's not his request. He has one request. My dear son, please enable me to give you the maximum Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. That's all. That's the only request that he has. That's a not pretty legitimate request. You would go for that, no? That's only Mamela Avada. He gave us a formula how to get the maximum Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. Avada. Because Baruch Hu gave Torah mitzvahs. Avada Torah mitzvahs. But the tachlis of the Kodesh Baruch Hu is not that we should keep Torah mitzvahs. The tachlis of the Kodesh Baruch Hu is to give us Olam Chesed Yiboneh, and the Chinuch writes it over and over again. Tachlis of this mitzvah is the Hachshir Sa'adam, to be right to Birchas HaKodesh Baruch Hu, by Yedei Zeh Yismach Hashem B'Maisav, Uvezeh Tachlis B'Rias Ha'olam, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is Beitiv in B'Rias. That's the whole tachlis of it. So let's practice. Shabbos is coming. Most people during the week they don't wash and they don't say Birchas Hamazon, but Shabbos is coming and we're going to say Birchas Hamazon 3 times. So Avada, we shouldn't forget. Who knows saying Lechem L'chol Basar? Shouldn't forget that. Now you also need that. Why? Because you see, following the Kodesh Baruch Hu's best case scenario, you only get if you follow his derech. If you follow other drachim, you're not going to get it. The ma'apilim, and very possibly your parents, your shver, they have different ideas for you. And they also would like you, the shitosov, to get Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. Look, you got to do this. You got to come home. You got to get a degree. You got to come home. You got to start working because you have to be Mesuder in life. You have to take care, make sure my daughter's taken care of. You have to have Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh, and they have their own drachim of Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh that they think, but Ein Hashem B'Kirvechem, and it's not going to come to Olam Hazeh. Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh, it's going to be Vayikum Vayaksum Ad Acharma. Only following the Kodesh Baruch Hu's derech is going to give you what he has in mind for you, the Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh. I don't understand. If I follow his derech, and I sit and learn, and I stay, how am I going to have parnasa? The Kodesh Baruch Hu is a type of meitiv. You're not maimin? Who knows saying Lechem L'chol Basar? You go in his derech. Rebbeinu Shalom. Okay, Rebbeinu Shalom. You have one request from me. You want to give me Ashrecha B'Olam Hazeh, yeah? And you want me to, and this is the derech to do. Okay, I also want that. Okay, so I'll go on your derech, but how am I going to get parnasa? You don't believe in the Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Zona Israel and Kula V'Tuva. Who knows saying Lechem? So this Shabbos. Every Shabbos, every time you bench. First of all, first bracha. Say it slowly. Think about it. And then, I'll tell you, not that doesn't mean the middle of the Birchas Hamazon you shouldn't have kavanah, but also when you get to Avinu, Malkeinu, Adirenu, Boicheinu, Koyachleinu, Etzreinu, Yidashenu Kedosh Hareinu Ro'ei Yisrael HaMelech HaToy. And you know what? You have a wife and children. You come to HaMelech HaToy VaMeitiv LaKoyo. Stop and scream it out loud. Everybody's going to look at you and they're shaking. And after benching, what happened there? What do you know happened there? HaMelech HaToy. If you felt it, you would scream. What are you going to say it? Look at the, if you knew what you're saying, of course you would scream. Of course you would scream. Do you know? Tell your wife. Do you know the Kodesh Baruch Hu? Did you know that? I don't know. Of course you don't know. Because you better look at when you Birchas Hamazon. I'll know that you know it when you start screaming it also. And then the kids see Tati and Mommy screaming. Tati, what is this? It sinks in eventually, you know. And the Kodesh Baruch Hu likes very much people that believe it, and you're going to get it, and you're going to spread it, and then you're going to believe in your own koyach, yochel nuchal, and you're going to spread optimism, and you're going to spread enthusiasm, and you're going to spread positive thoughts, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to make your tova. And when you hit that grand slam home run at the end of the ninth inning and win the World Series, the Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to say, you know who won the game, you know who ended everything and brought the Geulah Shlema, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to point to you. Just like the Kodesh Baruch Hu points to you, go down there and win this game. When you do win it, the Kodesh Baruch Hu is going to say, this is the one who brought the Geulah Shlema with his Yesod of Yochel Nuchal, Oloi Nale, V'yorashna Oisav.